I'm Luke Stapleford and I ride from the Macadam Triumph racing team in British Supersport. We're here today to try the new Triumph motocross bike and have a bit of fun really, to finally get the chance to have a day out of work and spin some laps was something I couldn't refuse. Funnily enough, I run a transport company as a full-time job, but I've raced now since I was 16, so getting on towards the later start stage in my career, but still enjoying it. So the motivation's still there, and that's what I enjoy. So it's treated as a bit of a relaxing time away from work as much as anything. But whilst I'm still competitive, I plan to continue racing. So the comparisons between the two sports, motocross and road racing, is a difficult one really. I suppose the disciplines are so different, but yeah, a lot of the road racers use, or the circuit racers use motocross to keep fit more than anything, but I find it mainly, I do a lot of exercise, so I feel like I'm fit enough anyway, but the main thing for me is keeping bike fit and keeping sharp. It's something that certainly with the circuit racing you can't do every day. You can't ride a circuit bike every single day. Motocross is a lot more accessible, so it's something that you can get your hands on and stay sharp and just be aware. So it brings you to a race meeting that you're obviously fresh and up to speed really. If you've put the hours in, certainly with a motocross bike, you feel like when you get to the grid at circuit racing, you've done all you can do, and mentally and physically you're prepared. So that's a big tick for me. If you can get to a race meeting and say, you know what, I've done everything I can do, then you know you're as good as anybody on the grid. I found that with motocross, sort of taught myself over the years really more than anything. I didn't start with motocross very young. I started relatively late on. I've never really been particularly comfortable with it, but over the last few years I've got more and more comfortable, and I think actually my styles are quite different between road racing and motocross, but for some reason I've managed to get to a level with both, I suppose. I genuinely think it's the best way to stay fit and sharp. I think you can do all the hours you like in the gym, and I'm a big fan of exercise anyway. Regardless of whether I was racing or not, I'd always keep to a certain level of fitness, but you can't get to that bike level of fitness by just sitting in the gym. So motocross really ticks that box, and like I say, it's difficult to get out on a road race bike, certainly throughout the week, and most weekends it's difficult as well, and ride to the level that we would be typically used to riding at British Championship. You can't just go to a normal track day and get to that level. So the benefits isn't great on a road racing bike, whereas you can get to a motocross track, you can put in the time, and you can ride to your own speed, and I don't think anybody does a day on motocross without feeling like they've actually physically done a day. So. Really surprising actually. As I've said to a lot of the guys today, I haven't really grown up around motocross, so my experience is relatively new really in the last few years, but I've rode a lot of 250s. The 250 is really good lower down. It's got a lot of torque compared to a lot of the 250s I've rode from other manufacturers, so that's a real positive. And the chassis wise side of it just handles real well, really light, easy to do what you want to do and put it in places that you want it to be in. The Triumph seems to be one of them things where I've just jumped on and didn't feel like anything's wrong. It doesn't do anything bad, so that's always a good sign when you get on a bike and you go, you know what, I feel at home straight away, as opposed to, oh, I need to get used to this or I need to get used to that. You get on it and you just feel comfortable straight away. Regarding advice for anybody looking to start riding, certainly motocross side of things, I'd say firstly, obviously you've got to prepare yourself with a decent bike, but secondly, it can be quite dangerous. So the biggest thing for me is knowing, I suppose, your limits. There's a lot of guys that certainly on practice days that you see that don't necessarily know their limits and probably ride above them, and it's easy because it's so physical to get lost in that at times, certainly when you're with a group of friends or something. So for me, the biggest thing is to build up slowly and actually work out where you are and stay comfortable with your riding, rather than trying to ride above what you're capable of, and then you find yourself in a world of bother.
you had a little tumble today.
Oh, I think that was first lap, wasn't it? It wasn't even a lap. Nobody got that, did they? Oh, yes. I'm so glad you didn't have a camera.